The flyaway hat rule. Imagine you're serving for match point, you toss, swing, boom, ace down the tee. The crowd erupts. You celebrate. But wait, the umpire interferes and calls point penalty, hat interference. Yeah, that's right. If any part of your clothing or equipment falls off and lands on your opponent's side during a rally, you lose a point. That's the rule, guys. Rule 26 of the ITF code to be exact. That's what happened in 1995 to Tim Henman. His visor flew forward on match point. The ball was dead, but because the hat was still in play, the point went to his opponent. Tim lost momentum, the set, and the tie. Brutal. Around the net post shot, Rule 25H. You don't have to hit over the net as long as the ball crosses the net plane. So, if you're pulled wide, you can hit an around the post forehand that never goes above the court. Roger Federer showed us this magic against Djokovic in 2010. Nadal did it to Roddick in Doha. Fans call it the ATP shot. Now, that's a fitting acronym. And yeah, the same gambit's also legal in doubles. Bryan brothers used it to save breakpoint at Wimbledon 2013. The two-bounce exception. Or you could call it wheelchair tennis. Quick question. How many bounces are allowed? In wheelchair tennis, 2. And the second can even be outside the lines. Why was this rule invented? Because they wanted rallies to last longer and to prevent them from dying on wide ball. Shingo Kunieda and Didier Groot showcased this brilliantly, angling across court then scooting for a finishing forehand. The Able-Bodied Tour briefly adopted a Let's Try It exhibition in 2018, but the players realized it's way harder than it sounds. Kudos to the chair umps. Ball touches any part of player equals loss of points. Now this is a weird one. According to the rules, if the ball touches any part of your clothes, even a shoelace, you're guaranteed to lose points. And if nobody notices it, the onus is on the player to confess. Do they though? Well, some do. Gael Monfils once owned up at Roland Garros 2011 when a drop shot grazed his shirt. The ump didn't even notice it, but he still channeled his inner honest man and told the officials. The crowd gave him a standing ovation, sportsmanship points, but scoreboard pain. No audible obscenities rule. Players are not allowed to swear out loud during a match, but the grunts are still allowed under this rule. The rulebook outlaws audible profanity, but has a 0 decibel limit on grunting. That's exactly the reason why Maria Sharapova's 104 decibel shriek is legal. But if Nick Kyrgios yells a 4-letter word, he earns a code violation. Fair enough? You tell me. Recording your own match. Yeah, that's completely illegal. IT Regulation 31 bans players from recording the opponent without their consent. Reason? Unfair scouting and data privacy. There was a low-tier pro who tried being adventurous one day and hid a GoPro in a courtside towel. When the officials found out about it, do you know what happened? The discovery led to default and a $5,000 fine for the player. By the way, that fine was way more than his potential prize money. I'm sure he never tried something like that ever again. The bird in play rule. Hear this one out. If a ball strikes a bird mid-flight and still lands good, replay the point. It's classified as a hindrance outside of player's control. The 2023 Santiago Challenger had this bizarre scene. The umpire radioed the supervisor for confirmation while that poor bird hopped off the court. Luckily, the bird was unhurt, so that's good. Serve from anywhere behind the baseline. The players don't have to be glued to the center mark. Rule 16 of tennis says the server can stand anywhere between the sidelines, behind the baseline. The Russian Andrei Rublev once forced his opponent to guess the angle of his serve by starting a serve motion near the doubles alley. But it hasn't died. Today, Nick Kyrgios exploits it by wandering wide, then snapping a slice up the tee. Considering everything Nick does on the court, this one's actually legal as long as the feet don't cross the baseline before contact. We don't get to say this enough, but you can't blame Nick for this one. The 25-second serve clock. But only when the umpire shows it. Since 2018, a shot clock is visible ticking after a point. This isn't a thing on center court Wimbledon though. There the players have to rely on the chair's mental count. Stefanos Tsitsipas tried arguing with an ump in 2022, telling him that he was within the 25-second limit because he never saw the clock. But the umpire was having none of it. He told him, clock or no clock, rules the same. Reaching over the net rule. Contrary to playground myths, you're allowed to reach over after the ball has crossed to your side and bounce back. It's a classic in windy conditions or wicked backspin drops. It was on full display in 2014 when Novak Djokovic pulled off a reach-over drop kill on Nadal. It was completely legal because the ball had spun back. But touch the net and you're toast. You can ask David Nalbandian. He was kicked out of the 2008 Queen's Cup final for smashing the umpire box. Let's serve? It's not a problem in next-gen events. Next-gen ATP Finals decided to scrap the service let. If the ball clips the net and lands in, no problem at all. It makes for chaotic reflex return though. That's a sight to behold. Our boy Carlos Alcaraz riffled 2 aces off-net cord dribblers. Also, this rule might migrate to the main tour as well. Purists sigh, millennials cheer. The force breaks rule. When wet bulb globe temperature hits 32.2 degrees Celsius, tournaments like US Open take a 10-minute heat rule break between sets 2 and 3 for women's matches, and after set 3 in the men's best of 5. The 2018 US Open saw Novak Djokovic ice tubing courtside, shirts off, fans blowing wind. His opponent complained that it wrecked the momentum. Too bad, bro. Health first. The lucky loser lottery rule. Did you know that you can lose a match and still end up winning? Well, if a main spot draw opens after qualifying ends, one of the highest-ranked losers gets drawn from a hat, quite literally. In 2017, Laszlo Djere lost in quali, but he got the lucky loser slot and ended up playing the final. Moral of the story? Never pack too early. Coaching ban rule. The Grand Slams don't allow on-court coaching, but WTA allows 1 visit per set, and the ATP now tests off-court verbal hand signals. Do you remember the 2018 US Open final between Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka? Patrick Mouratoglou's hand-wave gesture ended up being a code violation. Fast forward to 2023, ATP Roland Garros piloted open coaching from the player box, the same hand gesture in that tournament, no penalty. Make up your mind, tennis! The MTO gamesmanship rule. You may request 1 medical timeout if you suffer an injury mid-game. You'll get 3 minutes for treatment and 2 more for evaluation. But if you fake it? Oh boy, get ready for a heavy fine then. Ask Fabio Fognini about it. He got fined $27,000 in 2021 for a phantom ankle tweak. Players call it the Fangini 5. 5 minutes to kill your opponent's rhythm and momentum. No warm-up if you show up late. If you're as lazy as me and can never show up anywhere on time, specifically if you're arriving on court 15 minutes after call time, that'll result in default. If it's less than 15, yeah, you can play, but don't even think about a warm-up because that's not allowed. Missed challenge window. You're supposed to hit the Hawkeye signal immediately before the opponent begins the next service motion. Andy Roddick once tried to challenge a call mid-rant 20 seconds later. The umpire's response? Windows closed, Andy. And then we all witnessed that racket toss. Court surface color rules. The ATP rulebook suggests that the hard court should be uniformly colored and non-white. When Madrid unveiled a blue clay in 2012, Djokovic and Nadal said it was really slippery and threatened to boycott. ATP killed the experiment after just 1 year. So your all-pink dream court? That ain't happening. The whole ball law. Tennis loves ambiguity. The ball leaves an oval imprint. Rule 27 says if any part of that oval touches the outside of the painted line, it means the ball is still in. That's the reason why you see those Hawkeye graphics with hair's breadth overlaps still counted good. Millimeters decide millions, folks. If you have any other rules in mind, do let me know in the comments. Until next time.